Hello everyone. I wanted to take just a few minutes to assign your persuasive speech. Okay, so the persuasive speech is the biggest speech of the semester. Everything we've been doing all semester builds and culminates to the persuasive. Okay, it is the capstone. It's the biggie. There's no other way to put it. Okay, so I'm just going to kind of go through a few of the ins and outs here with it. Essentially, it's a persuasive speech. You're going to have more time than you've had or will have again. I'm looking for a little bit more from you this time. Okay, so first of all, let me just come here. I do expect you to read this sheet in detail. I'm just going to give you the highlights. Okay, so first of all, general topic here. This is big now. You need 5 references in your speech, folks, and they have to be cited verbally in the delivery of the speech, as well as on a references sheet with the notes you put into D2L. Okay, so I'm looking for 5 required sources here, cited orally and in the text. Okay, you have 6 to 9 minutes, and so that's a longer chunk of time than you're used to. Make sure you utilize your time and don't go over. Okay. This time there's a little bit more, so I'm looking for the more sources. You had to have 3 for the informative. This time I'm asking for 5. You've got more time, and so this time you have to have a visual aid. Now we are going to go over visual aids. We're going to spend some time talking about them and looking at them and figuring out how to use them in the speech context. Okay, but you are going to have to make sure that you have some way of turning it into me. All right. I will talk about that whenever I do the screencast for that week, okay? This speech is worth 200 points. It's the big one, folks. It's worth 20% of your final grade. So put the time in to really do a good job on this one. It is worth the effort, okay? So then I give you the main premise here, and I give you some things to think about. You want to try to find something that is important to you and relevant to the members of your audience as much as possible, okay? And the reason why is because if you're going to talk about the cultural significance of anime to a room full of people who don't even know what anime is, then you're going to have to make it relevant to them, right? So if it's not relevant to them, make it that way, okay? These are just some things to consider. You don't have to have all of these, okay? I've had students freak out where they're like, oh my gosh, it has to be all of this. No, these are things to consider, okay, when coming up with a topic, all right? So current events work really, really well for persuasive presentations, as well as ideas, philosophies, or beliefs that you believe have had a positive or negative impact on society. So I've had really great speeches on ideas and philosophies, notable innovations that have happened, an artifact that demonstrates a clear argument upon which we can act. Okay. So you can, there's too many examples there for me to even pull out. If you have a hard time, let me know, okay? Something of importance to FRCC or local communities, okay? Just things to consider. And what I do over here on page 2 is just some questions to ask yourself once you kind of think you've got a topic. What do you think, okay? The one my students freak out the most about is this right here. What is something new I can bring to this topic? Folks, that does not mean you have to do something so original, so unheard of previously that it's that or nothing. Okay? What I'm talking about here is what's your spin? What's your twist? What's your take? What is your position on this? Does that make sense? To completely innovate an idea is you don't have that kind of time. And it's even arguable as to whether or not that's possible at all, okay? That's what I mean by what is something new that I can bring to this topic, okay? So, and then, can I see at least 3 conditions of rebuttal against my topic? If you can't, that doesn't mean you shouldn't do the topic. What it means is are you really thinking through well enough what it is that you're talking about, okay? Or if you can't, is it that solid and there's nothing persuasive? You know, it's like, today I'm going to persuade you that we need oxygen to breathe. And it's like, there's no condition of rebuttal really to that. Like, we need oxygen to breathe. So that would not be a good persuasive speech topic. Okay? So just some things to ask yourself as you're working through. Students who work through this tend to set themselves up for success. Okay? So then I've broken down the outline again. Again, these are just around-ish times. Okay? And by the way, I realized here I put integrate visual aid in this step as appropriate. You can use visual aids in your introduction as well. Okay? You really can. I break it down and I just kind of give you a way to go about this this speech here. Follow it, and it should be helpful. Okay, I break it down for you. Follow it. I'm not going to go into depth here. Just read this and follow it. Okay. You do need a references list. Okay, and so now you are going to have a visual aid, and I have that over here on the last page, but. Students will say, do I have to cite every single thing in my visual aid? Well, is it of substance to your argument? Is it from a resource that you're using information from? Do you have to cite the clip art that you got from Google Images? No. Unless the clip art makes an argument, unless the clip art backs up something that you're saying. Okay? So that's what I mean when I say references. Okay? So follow this. It's meant to help you. Okay? I give you my cautions again, okay? Make sure you can come up with some action steps, all right? Make sure you can actually say, here's what you can do, all right? Here's what you can do. Keep yourself from introducing deep information in the introduction and conclusion, okay? Put your persuasive information in the action. That's where it goes. That's how it works, okay? And we'll talk about that as we get closer because we're going to talk about delivery and organization together. And that's where that will be. So we will cover that more in class. Okay. Work your presentation aid into the speech body. Make sure that you work it in. That it's not just a separate entity that floats outside of your speech. We will talk about that. Make sure you cite your stuff. Okay. We come up here, grading and other information. It's 6 to 9 minutes, just like always. Same stuff here as always. Okay. I put all of this on there. For your convenience, okay? So additional speech requirements, okay? Some of these are not much different than what we've done prior, but your speaking notes need to be dropped in the Dropbox in D2L by the due date. Dress and the podium are the same. Technological issues are the same. And then I give you the presentation aid spiel here, which we will talk even more about as we get to the presentation aid stuff. But folks, you do have to have a presentation aid of some sort, and you do have to have some way to turn it in to me. Okay? So if you create a PowerPoint, if you create a Prezi, if you create a Google slideshow, and you use it in your presentation, you need to make sure you can turn it in to me. Okay? If you go the handout route of your audience, you need to drop that handout in the Dropbox. So make sure that I get that. If you don't turn in your presentation aid, that's not good for your grade. Okay? So folks, that's the persuasive presentation. Going through the readings for this week and the next couple of weeks, we're going to be covering all sorts of different stuff on what is persuasion and what does it look like and how do I go about it. And hopefully, and we will be having discussions around brainstorming persuasive speech topics and really making sure that you're honed in on where you need to be for the persuasive speech. So I look forward to what you come up with. Everything you've come up with so far has been very, very good. And I will see you in the material for this week.